The tension inside the studio was noticeable long before the debate officially began. Bright lights reflected across the stage, cameras remained perfectly positioned, and the audience sat in near silence, sensing that this would not be an ordinary political conversation. When Ivanka Trump stepped forward to the podium, she carried herself with the confidence and composure that had defined her public image for years. Across from her stood Jasmine Crockett, calm, steady, and focused, holding a thin folder as if it contained more than notes, as if it carried purpose. Ivanka spoke first. Her tone was smooth, carefully measured, and polished through years of public speaking. She discussed leadership, legacy, and the responsibility of protecting a family's reputation while navigating public service. Every word sounded intentional, structured, and designed to reinforce stability and strength. The audience listened closely, nodding along as she spoke about loyalty, resilience, and the pressure that comes with being connected to national leadership. When Crockett responded, her approach immediately felt different. She spoke slowly, clearly, and without performance. There was no dramatic gesture, no raised voice, no attempt to overpower the room. Instead, she focused on accountability, transparency, and the expectations placed on individuals connected to public power. Her tone was steady, almost conversational, but every sentence carried weight. She spoke about how public trust is built not only through leadership but through honesty and openness. At first, the debate followed a predictable rhythm. Ivanka defended the importance of personal privacy, arguing that public service should not eliminate a family's right to personal boundaries. Crockett acknowledged that privacy matters but raised a larger question about where that boundary exists when private decisions intersect with public influence. The exchange remained professional, respectful, and structured. But beneath the calm tone, tension quietly grew. The moment shifted when the conversation moved from general principles to specific responsibilities connected to political influence. Ivanka's responses became sharper, more protective. Her posture stiffened slightly as she reinforced her argument that families of public figures often face unfair scrutiny. The audience sensed the emotional shift immediately. The debate was no longer just theoretical. It had become personal. Crockett did not match the rising intensity. Instead, she slowed the conversation down. She paused before speaking, choosing her words carefully, and asked simple but direct questions about how public trust is maintained when influence and private interests overlap. Her questions were not aggressive, but they were precise, forcing the discussion into deeper territory. The room grew quieter with every exchange. The host attempted to guide the conversation back toward broader policy discussion, but both speakers had already captured the audience's full attention. Crockett emphasized that transparency strengthens leadership credibility, explaining that public confidence grows when leaders demonstrate openness about decisions and influences. Ivanka countered by stressing the importance of protecting families from being treated as political targets, arguing that constant scrutiny can distort truth and create unnecessary division. As the debate continued, the contrast between the two styles became clearer. Ivanka relied on emotional connection, loyalty, and the importance of family unity. Crockett relied on logic, structured reasoning, and the long-term impact of accountability. Neither woman raised her voice, but the intensity inside the room continued to build through their opposing philosophies. At one point, Crockett paused mid-sentence and leaned slightly toward the microphone. She explained that leadership is often measured not only by strength but by willingness to answer difficult questions. She spoke about how public confidence depends on clarity rather than carefully managed narratives. The statement hung in the air, drawing visible reactions from members of the audience who leaned forward, fully engaged in the unfolding exchange. Ivanka responded firmly, defending the idea that families connected to political leadership should not be forced to surrender personal dignity for public approval. She spoke passionately about the pressure placed on individuals who never chose public office but became public figures through association. Her words resonated with sections of the audience, creating a moment where both arguments felt powerful and deeply personal. The debate gradually shifted from confrontation to reflection. Crockett acknowledged that public scrutiny can be difficult but emphasized that transparency often protects leadership credibility rather than harms it. Ivanka maintained that leadership requires strength not only in policy but in defending personal boundaries against relentless public examination. By the final segment of the discussion, the studio atmosphere felt completely different from the beginning. What started as a formal debate had transformed into a thoughtful conversation about leadership ethics, personal privacy, and public responsibility. The audience remained silent, not from discomfort, but from concentration. Every statement felt meaningful, every pause deliberate. The host eventually signaled that time was running short, asking both participants to share closing thoughts. Ivanka spoke about loyalty, resilience, and the importance of maintaining family unity in the face of constant public pressure. Crockett closed by emphasizing that public trust depends on transparency and accountability, arguing that strong leadership is built on openness rather than silence. As the broadcast ended, neither speaker claimed victory. Instead, both stood firm in their beliefs, representing two powerful perspectives on leadership in modern politics. The cameras slowly faded out, but the conversation sparked by the debate continued far beyond the studio walls. Viewers across the country began discussing the same question raised during the exchange: how much transparency should the public expect from those connected to political power? The debate did not end with confrontation or dramatic headlines. It ended with reflection. And sometimes, reflection carries more impact than conflict. The moment served as a reminder that political discussions are not always about winning arguments. Sometimes, they are about defining values, challenging assumptions, and shaping how leadership is understood in a rapidly changing world.